to the Black Health Academy's Plant You. So this month we're focusing on garbanzo beans, aka chickpeas. So as you know, every month in the Black Health Academy we highlight one particular food that we use an abundance of in the plant-based world, and then we make some awesome dishes with that particular food. So today we are going to make what I like to call tuna. So we're making a vegan tuna today, and we're using chickpeas. Chickpeas are a legume, and they are one of my most favorite foods in the plant-based world because they're so good for you and they're super diverse. So garbanzo beans, aka chickpeas, like I said, are a legume, and they are one of the most popular beans throughout the world. They're only second to the soybean. They're also one of the most healthiest beans you can consume because they're so high in fiber. So just 1 cup of garbanzo beans boasts 14.5 grams of fiber and 12.5 grams of protein. So if you wonder where do we get our protein from in the plant-based world, the chickpea is one of those places. So today we're going to make tuna. Now this is one of my most favorite recipes. Number one, because it's not cooked. It's a completely raw recipe. And if you've heard me talk about food before in the plant-based world, then you know I strongly believe in the importance of eating not just cooked, but raw foods as well. The enzymes that you get from both are extremely beneficial to our bodies, and so it's very important that you're consuming a raw food diet along with a cooked food diet. And so this is one of the ways that I diversify my raw food consumption. Now, in the plant-based world, we want to make sure that we're eating a ton of raw, cooked, but also healthy whole foods. Now, a lot of times you see a lot of vegan substitutes, you see a lot of plant-based substitutes, processed foods, and that's what I like to call vegan plant-based junk food. And that's not what we want, right? We want to consume still yummy foods, but we want them to be whole foods that are as close to their original form as possible. So no additives here, no added salt, no added sugar, and no added junk like soy, isolates, and a bunch of fillers, right? A bunch of calcium phosphate and preservatives. That's not what we want. So today, our tuna recipe is a completely raw, whole foods, plant-based recipe. You can find the recipe right below, so make sure you do and tweak it as necessary. If you're not a red onion person or if you're not a tomato person, this recipe is not off the books for you. You can still enjoy this by tweaking it yourself. So some of you guys may love tuna, but you're switching over to a plant-based diet and you're like, but I don't want to give up my tuna. It's so easy, it's so yummy, and it's so diverse. But I'm going to show you how you can maintain all of those things while doing it on a plant-based diet. And so we're gonna start with our garbanzo beans. Now, this is a box of beans. I prefer to buy my cooked beans in a box over a can because there's a chemical in canned goods called resin, R-E-S-I-N, and sometimes over time that chemical can seep into the food. So just to be safe, I try and buy boxed as much as possible. So here I have a 15-ounce box of chickpeas. Now there's no salt added here, so it's strictly the chickpeas and water. No guesswork, no salt, no sugar, just chickpeas and water. So what I've done is I've dumped 2 boxes of these chickpeas into this bowl. Now, how do we get that tuna-like consistency? Take you a small smasher, and we're just gonna smash this up, okay? So I'm just gonna go through here and smash this up. Now, depending on your preference, you can make it a little lumpy, a little crunchy, or you can smash it all the way down till it's nice and smooth. Completely up to you. So, smashing my chickpeas here. Now me, I like a little crunch in it, so I don't smash it all the way down until it's fluid. I like to still have some that are semi-whole. I like a nice little bite in mine. So I'm not gonna smash them down till it's extra smooth. That looks just about right. Shake off that smasher, and we're good. So we have our chickpeas all smashed up, right? Like I said, I like a little lump in mine. I'm just gonna stir them up a bit. Scrape any mashed chickpea off the bottom of the bowl. Now, on to the fun part. So, I like to add my veg in before my liquids. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in my veg. Now, I'll tell you what I have here, and again, totally tweak this to your preference. But I like tomatoes, so I have some garden fresh organic tomatoes here that a client bought me. And so I pre-diced those up, just a rough chop. And so I'm gonna sprinkle in some of those tomatoes here. Then I have cucumber. And believe it or not, when I still ate tuna, I would put cucumber and tomato in my tuna too. It wasn't just like a relish and mayo party. Like, I hooked it up. So I do the same thing with my plant-based tuna. So I got cucumber, I got tomato. I like a good little sprinkle of red onion. Not a lot, because you know red onion can be really strong. But I prefer red onion over a white or yellow onion because I like to say it's the onion with the melanin in it. So we use the onion with the melanin in it, and we sprinkle it here. So we got red onion, celery. Again, all this is just roughly chopped. So we got our celery. And finally, what's a plant-based diet without plants, right? So we have green onion. We have to have our chlorophyll. So I have some green onion, but that's not all, right? I'm gonna add in some cilantro. So I'm hooking this up so you can see we haven't even added seasoning, we haven't even added any liquids, and we are already like boasting a ton of flavor. You can imagine with the cilantro, the green onion, the tomato, right? You're getting a lot of different vibes going on the tongue, right? So let's chop up, I'm gonna roughly chop up a little of this cilantro and sprinkle it in there. So cilantro is a really, really good plant because the chlorophyll works to regulate your blood fluidity. So the chlorophyll, specifically in parsley and cilantro, is really, really good for you because it binds to hard to move toxins in your body and pushes that sludge right through. So please, if you do, you can always add a nice garnish on a chili or a soup with some fresh cilantro or parsley at the end because it's really, really good for cleaning out your blood. Okay, so I've chopped up me some fresh cilantro and I'm just gonna sprinkle it in there. And again, the cilantro and parsley, you know, has a reputation for being kind of a strong herb. So only use a little bit in the beginning, and so it doesn't overpower your dish. And if you prefer not to, don't use any at all. But what I do recommend is that if you're not gonna use the cilantro or a green onion, that you find some other plant that's more palatable for you and chop that up and put it in your dish. Like I said, this is a plant-based dish, and I'm serious about that. So we add plants to everything, okay? So here we are, we have all of our veg. So now we're gonna move into our fun liquid. So we're gonna add some vegan mayo as well as some hummus. So I'm gonna add about 1.5 tablespoons of plant-based or vegan mayo. So this is a vegan mayo, dairy-free, egg-free. I'm gonna put a tablespoon and a half into our tuna. Really, really yummy. Just a little bit there. Now, I always like to do less in the beginning because I have had batches that I went a little too heavy-handed on the mayo and they were like super too creamy, and so I had to open like another box of beans to put it in there and level it out. So, you know, don't overdo it with the mayo because it gets too creamy, and that's not what you want. And then these vegan mayos, they're made with oils instead of the eggs, and so they can potentially be really high in fat too. So you just want to control that intake. All right, hummus. Now I have just a plain hummus here. It is, this is Engine 2. I got this one from Whole Foods. It's not flavored, again, it's just plain hummus. And there's no additives, there's no preservatives in this hummus. And of course, hummus is also made out of garbanzo beans. So I mean, you're really getting your bean intake in on this dish. And it's made with garbanzo beans, water, sesame seeds, lemon juice, garlic, sea salt, cumin, and a little guar gum, which is just a binder to help it thicken up. So really, really easy. I bought a nice hummus, and so I'm going to start a little bit of hummus in here for some flavor. Let me just clean my spoon off here. Okay, so I'm gonna do about a tablespoon of this hummus. Now, if it's too thick for you, add a little water and thin it out some. So you don't have to, if it's a little too thick, you can just add a little water and thin it out. Okay, so I know I have like two 15-ounce boxes of beans and then all my veg, so you wanna make sure you have enough to mix it up. And now, I'm gonna do a little lemon juice because I like avocado on nearly everything. And when you use avocado, once you cut it, oxidizes, and that causes it to begin to brown. And the citric acid always adds a nice flavor. So I'm just going to squeeze this lime all over before we mix this up. And I'm going to add a little more once I cut my avocado. So guys, our tuna is coming along wonderfully. So we mix this up here. Okay, so now that's all mixed up, right? So we have all our veg, we have our hummus, and we have our mayo. So now we're gonna hook it up with some spices. So I have this awesome chipotle sea salt that I love. It adds such a chipotle flavor to things, and so I think it's really yummy. And so I'm just gonna do about a teaspoon of chipotle sea salt here, a little bit of black pepper. If you like a little spice, completely optional. Smoked paprika, simply because it's life. So a little smoked paprika on there. I always like to add that at the end so it can just be on top and just look super fresh, right? Like you bring this in a nice, all you really gotta do is put this in a nice bowl and take it to a party and they won't know the difference at all. It's all about presentation anyway. Now, I have a few pimientos, so I'm gonna put a little bit of that in there. Pimiento pepper, not spicy at all, adds a nice flavor. You usually find that in potato salads. And so we have our spices. We got the smoked paprika, the chipotle sea salt, the black pepper, pimientos. So we're gonna do one more little mix here. One more little mix to get all that chipotle sea salt and black pepper mixed in. Oh, it's so fragrant. Oh my goodness. Now, there's many ways to eat this tuna, but I'm gonna show you three. And before I do, there's one topping that I like on my vegan tuna that may not appeal to everyone, but it's my thing. And that's nuts and seeds. Number one, because they're just so good for you. And then it adds another layer of nuttiness and flavor to the dish. So completely up to you. But here I have some sunflower seeds along with some walnuts. And both of these are completely unsalted and raw. They're not roasted, cooked, or anything. They're unsalted and they're raw. But I like to sprinkle some walnuts and sunflower seeds on top, and it just adds, like I said, another flavor, another layer of nuttiness and yumminess. Okay, so that's done. So how do you consume this tuna? Well, obviously you can just take a spoon to it and go to town, right? That's the best way, what I like to say. But also, if you want a more hearty dish, and this is a great dish for lunch and consuming it, on the go, because it doesn't need to be heated. And so we're gonna put this in a wrap, we're gonna put it on a sandwich, and we're gonna put it in some lettuce today. And so you take your pick. If you're staying away from the starches, then feel free to just maybe have it with a nice clean plant-based cracker or in a lettuce wrap. So, but first, I'm gonna slice up really quickly some avocado, because avocado is a really healthy fat, and we'll be cooking up some recipes soon with some avocado, but it's a really healthy fat, and so it's a great way to get in your healthy fats, and it's super easy to cook. So what I'm gonna do is slice some up on my wrap and also on my bread. So I'm gonna show you really quickly. We got our whole grain bread that we're gonna make a sandwich out of. And then in addition to that, I have a whole wheat wrap here And wraps are so yummy because you can eat them while you're driving, like safely, you know. And who's not always multitasking when they're driving? So we have a whole wheat wrap here. So really super simple. Got this from Whole Foods as well. And I'm going to spread a little cacao. So you want to get a cacao that's really ripe because then it's spreadable and you can make kind of like, you know, some sauce or something for it, like a mayo, or, you know, we'll just add some wetness to it. We've added the mayo and the hummus to the tuna, but if you want a little more wetness in your sandwich, then feel free to do avocado, or you can totally add more hummus to your wrap as well, so that, you know, helps to offset any of those unhealthy salad dressings or something that you might be tempted to use. And I'm actually going to use the vegan mayo for my sandwich. So like I just mentioned, I'm just going to spread a little mayo on the bread here. Really quick swipe. Try and stick to no more than 1 tablespoon. Again, especially with this vegan mayo, because it is based in oil and you want to avoid excess oil. So first I'm going to make my wrap. So with my wrap, as you can see, nice chunky cacao right there. And I'm just going to dump a little bit of tuna in there. And again, I have the nuts in here. People are like, what? You put nuts in a wrap? I put nuts in a wrap. Okay. And finally, a little piece of lettuce right in that wrap. We have nice red romaine lettuce right in the wrap. And you can roll this puppy up if you like, or just kind of do it a once over here, and we can cut it in half here, and you are ready to go for your drive to your next big thing. Because again, who eats sitting still anymore? So nice wrap, as you can see, all lettuce in there tucked away. It's so yummy. So now let's make our sandwich. Again, this is just some whole multi-grain bread. And we put a nice healthy serving on that bread. The meal party is complete with avocado. So we're gonna slice a couple of slices on top here. Very thin. I like mine kind of thin so it doesn't get all slippery and slidey all over the place. Okay, perfecto. And we just top it off. Look at that. What, 100% vegan? Oh my God. I mean, I don't know why there's such a campaign against this lifestyle. It's so yummy and it's so easy. Look how simple this was. Slit your sandwich. Looks good, right? And finally, like I said, if you're avoiding those starches, if you're avoiding that bread right now, then you can always put this in the middle of a nice sturdy piece of lettuce. Now this is red romaine, but something else I've seen, which I think is brilliant, is using collard greens. So you can use a nice sturdy collard green, take a stalk off, and wrap you up some tuna in a collard wrap. So whatever plant you want to use, the goal is just to use plants. So also we have a nice lettuce wrap here, and you can wrap that up. Shall I do the honors? And we're going to taste this right here in the lettuce wrap. Nice crunch. The lettuce is really crisp. Perfect. That, my friends, is our plant-based tuna. So again, the recipe is right below. So take advantage. Cook this week. Cook it for your household. Try it out. See how you like it. And this is a great replacement for that canned tuna. And it's so yummy and so simple. So remember, the garbanzo being 14 grams of fiber and 12 grams of protein per cup. So this is a powerhouse, as well as a ton of zinc, iron, manganese, and sulfate. So this is folate. So this is an excellent source of nutrients and it's completely guilt-free. Thank you for tuning in to another recipe here in Plant You, and we'll see you back here next time. Take care.